Good Tuesday evening. It is January 3rd, and welcome to Under the Hood. I'm Eli Karp, your host, and tonight with me, Gannon Hannevold, Happy, and Rock the Barn. Little way to start off the show by just commending and congratulating Rock the Barn on his fantasy football championship win. He's going to take home the big bucks for whoever sent their money in. Not you, Kenny. Not you, Parker. And who's the last person that didn't send money? Yeah, that may just be it, but we'll see. If you're watching, please submit your questions. We want to hear it. We have a good time answering it. Haven't gotten many the last couple of weeks. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah to all. We were off last week, so I did not get a chance to formally say that the Giants have clinched a playoff spot. It happened. First time since 2011. I think we all know what happened then. So, thinking good thoughts, and even Gannon, the distraught Vikings fan, in their dumpster fire of the second half of the season, he's on the Giants bandwagon, at least for this game.
Have to be.
Blow, pack, blow. That's going to be the mantra going forward for this week. And let's just take a look at some quick questions. Yes. Diamond Sword and Tom Ken, some of our most loyal. That Giants defense, Diamond Sword, it is one of the stingiest in the league. They've only given up 17.8 here. That's a formula of success, especially with their just absolutely terrible offense, which shouldn't quite be the way it is, but it is. And I believe that even with the Giants offense, if you hold them to under 20 points a game, you should have a very good chance of winning. And it was shown at with the Giants' record 11-5 this year. They even exceeded my lofty expectations of 10-6. So if you're exceeding my expectations, then clearly things have gone right. And that's I guess where we'll start. Probably with the most intriguing game, I think. That's me being a Giants fan, but Oakland and Houston, that screams boring to me. Detroit-Seattle could be interesting because Seattle hasn't been playing that well, but Detroit's also lost 3 in a row, and they're playing in Seattle. Miami and Pittsburgh, and not seeing that too much from that. And then the Giants at Green Bay, that's where the focus is right now. I have to think. Let's see what the audience thinks. Why did David Johnson have to take his MCL? Well, I don't think he had. I think it was his ACL, and there's not too much damage. And by the way, he cost me 30, not costed. So, I applaud your effort, Thomas Kennedy. Yes, Diamond Sword, the Broncos are out. They are done 8-8 or 9-7, I think. 9-7. So disappointing end to the season for the Broncos. I assume your very intense, passionate fandom for the Broncos would let you know that they didn't make the playoffs this year. But Gary Kubiak also stepped down. One of the many coaching carousel events that we've seen and we'll continue to see. Obviously, he was not fired. He won the Super Bowl last year. They weren't going to fire him after a 9-7 year with a bad offensive line and a mediocre quarterback. But let's go to some of the coaching hirings and firings. Mostly firings right now. Chip Kelly, obviously out after 1 year. Interesting call. I think that's just a terrible organization right there and right now outside in San Francisco. Rex Ryan gone. I think we all saw that coming. Mike McCoy kind of got a bad deal with all the injuries, but he's been underachieving the last couple of years and a lot of fourth quarter letdowns. The talented roster he has. And Jeff Fisher, obviously, we all know where I stand on Jeff Fisher. He's gone. All right, thoughts on worthy or just or unjust firings? Mark the Barn.
I think they fired Rex Ryan too early because, yes, of course, it was going to happen. Rex Ryan has predicted many things for the Jets and the Bills, and none of it has come true so far. But the decision to fire Rex Ryan before the final game of the year against the Jets just didn't make sense to me. Like, unless they purposely wanted to lose to try to get a higher draft pick, I'm not really sure what the plan is there because Rex Ryan knows the Jets and I think he was 2-1 so far with the Bills against the Jets, and they fired him the week they were playing the Jets, which just didn't make sense to me.
Well, I mean, it's one thing to go 2-1 against the Jets. I don't know how much of an accomplishment that is, besides that is his former team. But you look at the roster, which is quite talented, to be able to underperform. He was able to underperform with that roster. 7-8 this year, and 8-8 the year before. What was that? His second year or his third full year? I'm having a mental lapse.
First,
His second.
This is his second year.
Second year. Either way, Rex always builds up these great expectations. We're going to go to the playoffs. We're going to win a Super Bowl. It doesn't happen. And I think it was the right decision. Whether they go for the right coach next is an interesting decision, whether Anthony Lynn is the right guy going forward. If they do give him the permanent head coaching spot, that'll be interesting. Thoughts on Chip Kelly?
Should have been.
I feel that was the right move.
I think that was the right move. I think right now Chip Kelly isn't necessarily in the right position to be a head coach. I just don't see the leadership from him that you would see in some of the elite head coaches in the league. But however, I do think if someone were to pick him up as an offensive coordinator, I think that would be a worthy move. I think he has the potential with his offensive mindset of that kind of hurry-up offense probably coming up, going to be one of the new, fresh offenses that we're going to see in the NFL. So if someone that's a team that's struggling and needs a little bit of an offensive boost were to pick him up, I don't think that would be a mistake.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, the offense has worked at times. San Francisco was a very fast-starting team just this year. They dominated first quarters. They just kind of fell asleep for the last three and 14 of their 16 games.
I think if Chip Kelly went to a team with, even a little bit more talent than San Francisco has on offense, because the Niners, outside of Carlos Hyde, have just an atrocious offense. You go down the line, there really isn't anybody to be excited about, especially at the quarterback or receiver position. Offensive line, very mediocre. Carlos Hyde's really the only bright spot there. So if you were to go somewhere with some talent, perhaps a good quarterback, maybe some receivers to play with, kind of like he did when he was at Oregon, where he had a lot of athletic players, I think he could definitely be a really good offensive coordinator in the NFL. But I think the head coaching position just isn't the right spot for him.
Yeah, interesting look. I mean, I think he's best suited for college.
Yeah.
That's just my thought, because he gets the players he wants. He does the best with his top recruits. Whereas in the NFL, you're not going to inherit a team of all-stars or a team that's of talent that's just that much higher than the competition which he had at Oregon. So I'm just not sure he's a great fit in the NFL, but I'd like to see if he can prove me wrong. I'd like to see him succeed. He's had a rough go the last couple of years. Any more thoughts on Chip Kelly? Mike McCoy. He's not a really big name. I'm not sure I see him getting a job somewhere else, at least as a head coach. Ken Wisenhunt's got to be in the conversation for a head coaching job or another coordinator position, right? Mm-hmm. I think he did a pretty good job as the Chargers coordinator. I mean, they're pretty good offense. I mean, you have Phillip Rivers, who's going to throw the interception when it matters most, but that's not always on the coordinator. That's on Phillip Rivers. All right, so that's pretty much it for firings. Tom Coughlin, he's in the mix for Jacksonville's head coaching job. I've been on this all along. I know you love to hear me when I'm right, but here he goes. I mean, they had a meeting with him. I think it was this week. Obviously, they haven't hired him yet. So, not going to read into that too much, but I think there's a legit chance that he is the next coach of the Jaguars. I don't find it beyond a little possibility. Anyone else? No? We are in agreement. Yep. Any other position, any other people you see that possibly right for the Jacksonville job? No?
It's like we lost Rock the Run.
Well, yeah, Rock the Barn will be back. He's got the computer issues from time to time. He'll find his way back.
Yeah.
Let's see what we have from the Peanut Gallery. Yes, the Giant Diamond Sword. Who do you think the Giants will be able to beat the Packers?
Ooh.
He says yes. So intriguing. On paper, I mean, I haven't even checked the line, but I've heard that it's pretty ridiculous. On paper, it looks like the Packers, they're going to roll Aaron Rodgers. He's been on an absolute tear, and he has. I hate to admit it, but he has. Let's check out the line for this game. Okay, Green Bay by 4.5. It's not huge, but I take the points if I were betting on the game. I think it's going to be a really close game. Everyone's like, playoff Eli is going to flip the switch. There they go. And then the Giants are going to be a tougher route than they are now. But I don't know why. What have I seen from Eli Manning that's there to suggest that he can just flip the switch besides 5 years ago and 4 years previous? I mean, what's there to tell me that all of a sudden this time he's now 35 or 36? I think he just turned 36 today. Today's his birthday. That he's going to be able to do it. I don't really know. Any thoughts on that?
Isn't he 37?
No, David
he's
Tyree
not.
turned 37 today.
Oh, good for Tyree.
Yes, we heard Joe Buck's enthusiastic call of one of the greatest catches in football history, played over and over again today.
I would like to think that the Giants can pull this off, but from a third-person point of view, like you said, on paper, it looks like the Packers are going to get it. I expect it to be a close game. Like you said, that New York defense been exceptional these last few weeks, and I do expect them to at least slow down Aaron Rodgers. But there's just something about the Packers this year that just seems like they're not going to be able to be halted, which is really unfortunate. Because I would really like them. I'd like to see them lose. I would have been so ecstatic to see Washington beat New York and then see Green Bay fall to Detroit and just completely wipe out in the playoffs. That would have been a dream come true. But now that they're there, I really worry that they're going to make it far.
Happy?
Yeah, I think the whole thing comes down to if Eli Manning can play like his old playoff self, because I think the Giants defense will be able to hold Aaron Rodgers better than most teams could. But it's Aaron Rodgers, and no one can really just stop Aaron Rodgers. He'll get his points. It's just that Eli has to be doing up to able to match and beat that. And we'll see.
Rock the Barn?
I don't know if you guys talked about this. My computer shut off, but I don't think Eli Manning really has to turn it on all that much. Yes, he's got to turn it on enough for him to make good throws, solid throws to open receivers. But the Packers don't really have a secondary. Their defense has really fallen apart with injuries these last few weeks, and it's very unlikely a lot of their key players may not play on Sunday. I think they play.
Yeah,
Sunday's game. So if Eli Manning can just be like a good average quarterback, I think they can win.
Well, I mean, he's been a good average quarterback for this whole season. And it's funny you bring up the depleted secondary. Back in Week 5, when the Giants' offense was probably similar to the way it is now, not that much different. The defense is what's different. Giants played the Packers in a very depleted secondary, and the Giants had a lot of trouble scoring. So, I mean, you can put us four back there. We can play corner and safety, and I think the Giants would have a tough time putting up 23 on us. So, I mean, yes, it could help. But I think the biggest thing is going to be the ground game. The ground game's been okay lately. And I think that if they can get the ground game going, they can churn some clock, not have the defense out there for 35-plus minutes. I think they've got a legit shot. On defense, the game is going to come down to third down, because it always seems on the third down plays you forced Aaron Rodgers into third down and long. And then the Packers' offensive line is pretty darn good. And in pass protection, Aaron Rodgers has 5 seconds to make a play, which is a long time. And then the play's going to break down. The receivers aren't going to get open immediately. But he's either going to extend the play about 3 times and make an insane throw that goes for a first down, or he's going to use his legs, probably the biggest asset of his game besides his flick of an arm, which travels seemingly about 50 yards in the air of a ball. So, I mean, it's just so frustrating to watch your team defend Aaron Rodgers. You think you have it covered against 95% of other quarterbacks. The play is dead. Your defense has done its job, but he's just going to extend it one more time and run 6 yards when they need 5, or complete a pass for 10 when they need 9. And it's just such a morale deflator. But I think if there's one defense that can at least try to do it the best, it's going to be this Giants defense, because they have a very strong secondary. Happy?
So you bring like the Giants trying to stop Aaron Rodgers, but they couldn't. They had a very tough time with Carson Wentz 2 weeks ago, which makes me concerned with the Aaron Rodgers thing.
Yeah, I just think they were not ready to play on Thursday night at all. I mean, because then again, they come out with absolutely nothing to play for this past week against a top 3 offense in the league, and they give them nothing. Yeah. Absolutely nothing.
I mean, here's another side of it. You got the Vikings defense that's primed as one of these top tier, and earlier in the year, we shut down Aaron Rodgers, Eli Manning, Cam Newton. Who else did we play in those weeks?
Doesn't take much.
We were 5-0. We shut down
Mariota.
Various
Marcus Mariota.
Brock Osweiler.
Marcus Mariota.
Mariota.
Brock Osweiler, a very good one to put on our resume.
Super Bowl.
But then again, we get torn up by Jay Cutler and who else? I can't even remember right now. But I know Jay Cutler tore us.
You had that game against the Colts that you probably want to forget.
Yep, there you go. The Colts with their battered offensive line. So any given Sunday, anything can happen. It just depends on who shows up and who prepares better. That's all I can say for that, especially come playoff time.
It just seems interesting. I feel like whenever I see the Giants, it's not like they've prepared, at least for like any one team. It just seems like they're so generic and they're able to get by. I'm not sure how much I believe in Ben McAdoo's game planning system, but we'll see. 11-5, nothing to complain about. Before the season, during OTAs, Eli Manning said, "This is a playoff team." Eli Manning didn't lie, so we'll see where that takes us going forward. Happy.
Just one quick thing. I think we have to bring up the fact that this game's going to be played in single-digit weather, because that's going to be a major influence in the game, I think.
Could be. Definitely could be. Yeah. Their Packers are more used to it. But you know what? Eli Manning's now played twice in Green Bay in the playoffs. And the first time, it was much colder than that. It was like negative or single digits. Tom Coughlin had icicles growing on his chin. But I look at the forecast. It's supposed to be, mid to low teens. So, balmy Green Bay January weather. I don't think that'll have a huge impact as long as it's not too windy. And I haven't seen anything too big about wind. It's supposed to be sunny. I don't think it should impact the conditions too much. So there are the 2 cents on the Giant Packer matchup. We'll come back to pick it later. Let's go to Oakland and Houston, and don't worry, I won't make us spend much time on it because I don't think the fans are going to spend much time watching it either. It just sounds so boring. Connor Cook against Brock Osweiler. And without Derek Carr, the Raiders' offense is not special. And then you look at the defense, and even though Brock Osweiler-led Houston Texans offense is anything but good, the Houston Texans have a number 1 defense. The Oakland Raiders have a mid to late 20s defense. Those numbers speak to me a little bit because there's no Derek Carr on the other side of the ball. So it's going to be a boring game. I'm not sure how much I'm going to be able to watch just because it's going to be pretty darn boring. But I'm going to take the Texans in a close one. And this is the Oakland's. This was obviously they have a huge bright future ahead of them. But people were thinking, the Raiders this year possibly first playoff appearance in 2002 when they lost to Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl. Game pick, Scannon, fire away.
I'm gonna go with Houston 27. 22-7.
22-7. All right, happy.
20-7.
Okay.
I'm going to go in a very low-scoring game of 7-3, in which the quarterbacks combined for 150 passing yards.
Bold. Rock Barn.
I've got the Oakland Raiders coming out on top 20-17 because I feel I don't know. I just have a gut feeling about them.
All right, a gut feeling about Connor Cook. I'm going to go 13-9. I think there's going to be one touchdown scored in this game. It seems like the Texans have gone – they're very comfortable playing in these types of games with these types of scores. They're not fazed by it. So, I mean, I like the Texans in this matchup. But
does J.J. Watt return?
No.
No. J.J. Watt is shut down, I think. Yes. I don't see anything coming from him. Detroit to Seattle, that is Saturday night in Seattle. Again, Seattle not quite the same team this year. Missing Cam Chancellor and Earl Thomas. It's just a little different back there, but the offense has also been pretty abysmal. And they only beat San Francisco by 2, and they were trailing for a decent part of that game. I was not happy because as good as the Packers have been playing, I know that it's so hard to win in Seattle, and that the Giants, no matter how mediocre, or I'm not going to call the Seahawks mediocre, how they haven't been themselves this year, I knew the Giants, they're not going to win if they go to Seattle. So Detroit has the pleasure of traveling to the loudest stadium in the league. Detroit's actually made the playoffs twice in the last 3 years. Good on them. Any certain things to look at in this matchup?
Detroit has not played well this year in outside at away games. Well, outside games really.
Okay.
One win.
They're also coming into they've made the playoffs on a 3-game losing streak. That's impressive. Not many teams can say that they've done that.
Yeah.
Who wins? Happy?
You got to go. The Seahawks will find a way to win. It'll be a close one. I'm going to go like 21-20 on a Matt Prater missed field goal.
Oh, yeah, that's not something we see very often. Matt Prater, except for he missed one on Sunday night. Matt Prater
off a missed field goal again. I am going to cry myself to sleep.
I mean, at least it'll be a division rival this time.
Rock the barn?
I've got the Seahawks coming out on top.
Again, I assume you've got the... Well, you never know. I mean, these are two teams neither you want to pick.
I'm going to be bold, and I'm going to say Detroit 26-23.
I got to go with the Seahawks. There's no wow factor on either side of the ball for me for Detroit. Darius Slay's been a little nicked up. Their defense doesn't scare me. And there's no Megatron. And, I mean, Zach Zenner's been a nice story the last couple of weeks, but I just don't see the wow factor that Detroit has to get it done, or the firepower that you need in Seattle to get by most of the time. So, for the last few weeks, I've been saying I think Seattle, they're going to be the team, and I'm not saying that they're looking great right now, but I'm going to hedge my bets in Seattle using their experience in the playoffs as of now, and I think that they get the W. Let's see what we have from the crowd. A lot of Spanish going on. Diamond Sword, by the way you worded your question, I'm guessing you'll have more subscribers. Congrats, I guess, right? Kick return for the Bills. I didn't see it. I surprisingly had better things to do than watch a Bills-Jets Week 17 game that meant nothing. So I had the pleasure of not watching that. Rock the Barn, you probably watched it.
I did. It was just a normal kick, and Gillisley for the Bills went to go return it, and he missed. It never touched him, and it rolled into the end zone. And he thought it was a touchback because it was in the end zone, and then the Jets just jumped on the ball.
The Bills out-Jets the Jets. Impressive.
The Bills did not play well at all at that game.
I mean, and that kind of shows Tyrod Taylor not being played, and I don't know, was that more Tyrod Taylor or Anthony Lynn?
Also, Shady got injured.
I'm not really sure. Yeah, Shady got injured. I'm not sure about that. E.J. Manuel did not play well. They put Cardell Jones in the fourth quarter, and he threw an interception to Darrelle Revis for his first one of the season.
Yeah, I guess that's pretty much just keeping a streak alive for Revis. And what's going on with him? I mean, it's unbelievable. Such a great year last year, and this year he's struggled a lot. It's been really unfortunate to see, and I'm not even a Jet fan, but Much better things expected out of him. And the defense secondary was awful, abysmal, horrific. You insert your terrible adjective, and that suffices for the Jets secondary and the Jets season overall. I think, 4-12 was their record?
5-11.
Oh, wow. They got all the way to 5-11. Impressive. I didn't think they could do that. But yeah, that was pretty unfortunate.
Well, from the mock drafts, I'm actually quite pleased about this. The way everything is looking right now, the Jets should be getting Deshaun Watson, and I think that could be a real help for them on offense.
Oh, yes, they can add an 8th quarterback to their roster.
I think the Jets would be – I think it would be an idiotic move for the Jets to reach on Deshaun Watson with how high their pick is in the first round. I just don't see him translating as that high of a first-round pick talent.
Also,
and who do you get? It's not obvious for the Jets to get anybody else, though. They clearly need a quarterback. It was a very stupid move to get. Bryce Petty has not shown much at all, and when he shows signs of hope, he gets injured. Todd Bowles does not want to play Christian Hackenberg. Is never around. So I mean,
I think they go with. Where is their pick? Is it was the 4th or
6th?
The Jets have the 6th pick.
Okay. At that position in the draft, I think they've got to go just with BPA, best player available, and show patience on a quarterback until perhaps the 2nd or 3rd round. Because you look at a lot of the successful teams in this league, their quarterbacks haven't come from the 1st round. If you look at Seattle, found Russell Wilson in the 3rd round. Dallas was able to pick up Dak Prescott in the 4th round. You've got Oakland with Derek Carr as a 2nd round pick. Lately, the high pick guys haven't been able to step in and be immediately really talented starting quarterbacks. I mean, you can try outside of Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston, there hasn't been a talented first-round quarterback in probably 4 or 5 years since Cam Newton.
Well, what else do you go for if you're not going to go for a quarterback on offense? Because, yes, they need a tight end. But besides that on offense, I mean, they're kind of all right. I mean, their offensive line is decent. And they have wide receivers. I mean, Brandon Marshall's a good wide receiver. Eric Decker is a good wide receiver. Quincy Enunwa is amazing.
If I'm the Jets and Mike Williams is available, that's who I'm taking.
I like that pick too.
If
I was the Jets just to begin with,
patient on a quarterback until the 2nd day of the draft.
If I was the Jets just to begin with, I want to take a quarterback because I think we've seen these past couple years they are not good at taking quarterbacks in the draft.
There's no quarterbacks this year that are worthy of a top 10 pick, in my opinion.
And even Deshaun Watson hasn't committed yet, so you can't even say like the Jets should take him.
Well, I'll make a little prediction, not for the Jets but for the Giants, on who they should take early, and that should be O.J. Howard out of Alabama. If he
that's what I was thinking.
Commits for the draft, if he does, and I'm assuming he will. But they need an elite tight end so badly, and sure they've got Larry Donnell, and sure they've got Will Tye, and sure they've got Jarrell Adams, but their tight end situation is somewhat equivalent to the Jets quarterback situation, in that they have a bunch of guys there, a couple of recent draft picks. None looks like they're the true answer, and they have a shot maybe to find it. Not that the Jets have the shot to find the franchise guy this year, but I think the Giants can finally find their franchise tight end this year. O.J. Howard is a real deal who's shown to be in college.
Giants have
not even a running back, though? You don't want the Giants to draft a running back in the first round?
Paul Perkins is a running back of the future. Make no mistake, this guy is good.
Yeah, I've said that since he was drafted. I think he's going to be a future star. Well, at least not star, but definitely a tip what you want out of a starting running back.
All right, question from Mr. Purple. Bengals expectations for next year. I mean, it was a disappointing season for the Bengals. They finished 7-9 or 6-10. Or no, they had a tie.
They had a tie in there.
6-9-1.
I think
7-8-1.
6. Okay, maybe 7-8-1, but I think it's 6-9-1. One of the two, whatever. Disappointing season,
6-9-1.
but I think that they fought hard enough down the stretch that Marvin Lewis is going to keep his job. Andy Dalton is a solid quarterback. Defense was down this year. Not sure what quite happened with the defense. But the offense really it missed Marvin Jones, it missed Mohamed Sanu, but they have Tyler Boyd making plays, Rex Burkhead and Alex Erickson. They're playmakers as well. When they get healthy, the Bengals offense is a top 5, top 7 offense when they're healthy. Is the defense, which has been good, really shocked me this year. Gannon?
Their defense has been on a downward decline ever since Mike Zimmer left.
Oh, here we go. Got to relate it to the Vikings. But also, Pac-Man Jones' arrest yesterday, little bit concerning with his checkered past. Seems like he's not straying away from that. Also, fresh news, the Seahawks are going to sign Devin Hester for the playoffs. Very interesting decision. Devin Hester's been down this year, but, you know, he's got the talent and the explosiveness to change a game. So, I mean, Chicago just playing with house money at this point, especially since Tyler Lockett is out for the foreseeable future with that gruesome, unfortunate leg injury. But as for the Bengals, I think they'll rebound nicely next year. Maybe, you know, a 9-win, maybe a 10-win season. All depends on, you know, the health of the offense and maybe if Paul Gunther can get the defense back under control. Miami at Pittsburgh. Matt Moore versus Ben Roethlisberger. I don't really see anything that's going to prevent Pittsburgh from winning this besides Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
JJ?
Yeah, JJ, but Pittsburgh's defense isn't great, but I just don't see Matt Moore and the Dolphins being able to go to Pittsburgh and get a win. I would be very surprised.
Well, they destroyed them when they were in Miami.
Yeah, but
that was also with Tannehill, and that was, I mean, not that Tannehill is an all-world guy, but they're different teams than they were then. Pittsburgh, I think they were 5-5. Pittsburgh is now 11-5. So Pittsburgh is gelling at the right time. This is the kind of team that you don't want to play, similar to the Packers.
That was a team. The Miami team was based around Jay Ajayi on that game. He just over 200 rushing yards. So I don't think you can put pretty much any of it on Ryan Tannehill in that game. Yes, of course you have to put some of it, but most of it I think went on how well Jay Ajayi played. And I think if he can play like that again, they could definitely win.
All right. I mean, are you picking the Dolphins?
I am.
We have a Dolphin picker. Happy?
I would love for the Dolphins to win, but I think with the Steelers in Pittsburgh, I don't see a way that the Dolphins can win. I'm going to go like 17-13. I think it'll be low scoring.
All right. Gannon?
Pittsburgh 31-23.
All right, closer than I have it. I'm going to go 31-17. I think maybe Miami will pick up a garbage time touchdown. I just don't see it being very close. I don't. I'd love to see Miami win. I'd love to see Pittsburgh go out, but I don't know. I don't see it happening.
Remember last year though, the wild card teams went 0-4 or 4-0 away teams.
Well, hopefully that holds true.
Oh yeah, for the Giants' sake, yeah.
I don't care about anyone else. I would be happy to find the Lions later on. Have Green Bay and Seattle out of the playoffs. I love the Giants' chances.
That would be
should that happen. And I'd also love to see Pittsburgh, and it'll be nice if Oakland could come away with a win. But I just don't see that happening. Before we finish out, we got to make the Giants and Packers game predictions. And it seems we have a pro-Giant heart crowd, but do we have a pro-Giant head crowd? And let's start with Rock the Barn, who really has no interest in this. You there?
you couldn't handle it.
You know what? I assume we'll have to come back to Rock the Barn. Let's start with Gannon.
It's so painful. Green Bay, 27-17.
Oh, wow. Not even especially close. I want to rate the Rock the Barn, so Happy and I can be the last to give the predictions, but I don't know how quickly he's going to be back, so I'll just leave Happy out to dry. Here you go.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna go with the Giants. I mean, I picked him for my Super Bowl, so I gotta stick with my prediction. I don't know how they're gonna win, but I think they're gonna find a way to win in a very close game, 24-21.
You're very close. It's so tough. I want to just go safe and say the Packers are going to win, but
I think if it's a close game, the Giants
it's going to
will
be
keep
close. I
think
really
the Giants
believe it's going to be
will find a way.
close. And actually, Rock the Barn, you come at the perfect time. I'm going to leave everyone on a cliffhanger before I give my prediction. Let's hear your Giants-Packers prediction.
I have the Packers winning on a 27-21 game.
All right. One possession. All right. I mean, considering that I had Arizona at the beginning of the year winning the Super Bowl,
So
or they're coming out of the NFC, and I mean, then I had Seattle. I can pick. I'm not bound to pick one of these teams. Besides the fact that I love the Giants, but there's just something about it, and I still don't think the Giants are going to get to 20 points. I really still don't think they are. But oh my God, it's going to be so close. I'm just getting anxious thinking about it now. I'm going to take the Giants 19-17. I call me crazy. I can very well be wrong, but they're going to manage to keep the game close one way or another. They've gone down big early. They've managed to trim leads back. They've managed to come back in games. They've won games just about every way besides coming back from a blowout. It's not an offense that's built to come from behind, but I think that with enough of the Packers' defensive struggles, the Giants will be able to at least play a little bit of the field position game. I don't think they're going to put up a lot of points, so evident by the 19-17 prediction, but I think that they're going to be able to play enough of the field position game. Defense will get just enough stops. Maybe they'll be able to stop Aaron Rodgers or slow him, but oh my God,
it's tough.
It's so much. It's so much for the Giants. It's great to get to the playoffs, but to also think it's one and done, it's so painful. So painful. Giants are back in it first time since 2011. The Packers, they're won 6
like the difference
straight.
The other 2 runs, we had pretty easy first games. I think
Way back in
Buccaneers the first time, and the Falcons, I think the Giants only gave up a safety in that game.
Yep, 24-2.
Yeah.
Way back in September, I picked the Packers and the Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl. So far, looking pretty good for me.
I think I picked the Cardinals.
Yeah, you could be on a very lucky season, except that the fact that the Jets are horrible. You're winning fantasy football and making your Super Bowl prediction come true. But if anyone has any doubts, just revisit our NFL preview show, and you can see if Rock the Barn was right. But yeah, I mean, I also thought the Jets would have a good shot at the wild card this year. We saw how that turned out. So why believe me? There's no reason to believe me. Let's see. Tom Ken. I have a bold prediction. I say that Kristen Michael rushes for 3 touchdowns.
Nah.
Michael, the new Packer. I mean, that is bold considering that the Giants' defense run defense in particular is a top 5 unit, and Damon Harrison is a monster.
He'll eat him before he gets.
There's no other way to put it. I'm not sure how he didn't get into the Pro Bowl. And I think the Giants have given up the least amount of offensive touchdowns this year. They're second in total scoring to the Patriots, but again, they've given up a couple pick sixes, or maybe just one, but still, Giants defense, they're going to make you kick some field goals. Again, this game is going to come down to third down on both sides of for both offenses, as it usually does. I mean, anyone could say that, but I really think that it's going to be so close, so close. My brother is going to the game. It's going to be pretty ridiculous.
As a Jets fan, I'm pretty salty about losing Damon Harrison. As Joe Buck said Sunday, how the Jets last year were great against the run, and losing Harris, now they're just horrible against the run. They went from one of the top to one of the worst.
Yeah, but that Leonard Williams he's going to be amazing. Excuse me. Who was this? Diamond Sword, going back to an earlier question, probably at the top of the show, about the Broncos having the best defense. Maybe it was Thomas Kennedy, but not getting to the playoffs. as good as the Broncos defense was, their run defense was pretty darn bad. They were like bottom of the league, like low 20, like high 20s, like 28 or 29th against the rush. And for a defense that good with that good a secondary, you just can't have that. Malik Jackson, losing him was huge, and just the overall play wasn't quite as good. So even with a very good defense, that couldn't get in the playoffs, and their offense was really just abysmal. So who knows? Can we get a key player from each of you, not named Aaron Rodgers, not named Eli Manning, not named Odell Beckham, in this Giants-Packers game? Arthur Barn.
Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. I think he had
two interceptions last week.
2 interceptions. Yeah, I thought it was a fumble recovery and an interception, but 2 interceptions. Had a great game against the Redskins, and I think it's going to overturn into the Packers game.
All right, Happy?
Best damn safety in the league, Landon Collins. He's going to...
All right. Gannon?
Give me every Packers receiver not named Jordy Nelson or Randall Cobb.
All right. Devontae Adams? There you go.
Yep. Devontae Adams, Jared Abbrederis, Jeff Janis, Geronimo Allison, whoever's open, because you know the Giants are going to key in with Janoris Jenkins and Rodgers-Cromartie. They're going to key in on Nelson and Cobb, and I think Aaron Rodgers does best when he has his slot guys get open, and that's where he's going to tear you guys up.
Well, you know what? Aaron Rodgers, probably one of his best attributes is that when he keeps the play alive, he does not care who he throws it to as long as they're in green, white, and yellow. So Geronimo Allison, Dan's cousin, he's become probably his new favorite target over the last couple of weeks, and that's probably one of the biggest things. That the Giants are not going to have a huge name guy on him, but he's going to get open a couple times, and Rodgers is going to find him. And I'm going to look at the exact same thing on the Giants side of the ball. Odell Beckham is going to be doubled most of the game, or a safety is going to be brought over for help. Victor Cruz doesn't really have the speed to get open, at least for a huge play, so they probably need him to. Sterling Shepard has been good, not great. He doesn't produce the huge plays, he just timely plays. That brings us to Roger Lewis and Tavares King. Tavares King had a 44-yard reception on a dime from Eli to pretty much seal the win against Washington on Sunday. And Roger Lewis has shown at times that he can play as well when he doesn't drop things that land right in his hands. So, that being said, I think that they're probably the X factor for the Giants, at least. Eli Manning just has to be able to keep the play alive with his little movements, and if his first option is available, not to just chuck it in the turf. Give it maybe one more second, and then something may open up. But if he takes a little more time, obviously Eli Manning is about as far away from Aaron Rodgers' mobility as you can find. Rodgers is walking, Eli's in a wheelchair, even though Eli's never hurt, but that's just the speed and mobility that he has. So I think that they're going to be open every once in a while, and that he needs to look for them and be ready to air it out to them. I really think they could help bring it home.
I'd like to drop in a little-known fact that is kind of disappointing to me, and that's that Matt Barkley has as many receiving touchdowns or receptions as Laquan Treadwell.
Is that 0 or 1?
Matt Barkley, oh no. Laquan Treadwell has 0. So yes, Matt Barkley has more receiving touchdowns than Laquan Treadwell does. And that is very upsetting.
Now, why did they, for an offense, okay, Paul Allen is saying Bradford's had a great year. Yes, Bradford set the single-season completion percentage, but that's because on a 3rd and 10, instead of dumping it into the turf or going incomplete on a pass to pick up the first down, he's instead going to throw it out into the flat, right over there, right to my right, and he's going to let his guy get absolutely mauled in the backfield. No gain. It goes down as a completion. That percentage goes right up, but he's not getting anywhere. So why is Laquan Treadwell the playmaker? I understand Thielen's a good guy, and he's a useful utility guy. But why is your first-round pick not there to help your offense get better when it's pretty bad?
I certainly agree. I think he should have taken considerably more snaps than Charles Johnson or Jarius Wright. Do I think he should be played over Stephon Diggs or Adam Thielen? Of course not. But I do think he should have definitely gotten some reps in with the first team.
Rock Barn?
I'm starting early this year. I'm really looking to improve my fantasy football team, as they did not do well towards the end with a only
You
with a
won.
close.
Won.
You won.
Who are you guys going to go for next year?
Not Adam Thielen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, I have no problem with my pick of David Johnson. I thought he was going to be great coming in. I said he'd be the MVP. He's not going to be the MVP, but he is the one being snubbed out of at least the conversation because he deserves to be considered for Offensive Player of the Year, I think. So I wouldn't. I mean, the MCL scares me a little bit, but I mean, I think it's minor enough that by the time it should be okay.
You think Jordan Howard could have a big effect in fantasy?
I'm high on Jordan Howard as well.
Jordan Howard, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think he'll be.
Chicago.
Happy why not Adam Thielen?
Because he made me lose fantasy football. Because I was stupid enough to start him over Jarvis Landry.
Yeah, that was a bad move. I would have lost if it wasn't for that.
I think I also would have won if LaShawn McCoy didn't sprain his ankle or whatever.
Well, Lamar Miller didn't play the final game, and I should have realized that DeMarco Murray wasn't going to play either.
To be fair, I mean, my first two picks were terrible this year, and I am very proud that I made it to
So
the
were Rock the
finals.
Barnes. He had Hopkins and Miller.
Mine were worse. I had Gurley and Jeffrey.
I went Adrian Peterson and Jamal Charles,
Okay, yeah, you win.
and I still made the playoffs.
I mean,
I made the playoffs, and I was 6-8.
I mean,
Kenny made the playoffs with an all-Patriots team.
exactly.
See, we have.
I think there should be a limit this year
I
on
did
how
have
many
this
people
trade with
per team
Eric.
you should draft.
He just handed me Odell Beckham.
There
Yeah.
should definitely be a limit on how many people per team you can draft.
Oh yeah.
There is.
No, like per actual NFL team. So Kenny can have 15 Patriots players on his team.
Well, you know what? It is what it is. We thought it was good at the time. We'll see.
It was hilarious.
Just to
see it
close
come
out.
down.
I'm really hoping that Clemson wins on Monday.
I think everyone
yeah.
does.
I'm tired of Alabama. Interesting. Lane Kiffin is essentially, I think we all think he was fired. Lane
I
Kiffin
think
was
so, too.
fired in between. I don't know if Saban was just unhappy with the way he handled being hired before the playoff, but that's just Saban and his ego again getting Lane Kiffin. I don't think this is quite Lane Kiffin's fault like the other times he's made exits. I think he's got a short end of the stick here.
I hope this bites Alabama in the butt.
I do too, and one of his USC successors, Steve Sarkisian, is now the offensive coordinator
Which would be even
for the championship game. Very, very interesting story there. So, quick game picks. Who's winning? Gannon? Is the tide rolling?
I don't think he could hear you.
Usually you say someone's name here, Eli.
I did.
Who?
Yours.
You. Who's winning the game?
I didn't hear. My audio glitched out. Okay. Clemson. I'm gonna say Deshaun Watson goes off and gets a little bit of vengeance for what happened last year.
As the Jets scouts are watching in the stands, happy.
Oh yeah, Clemson. I hope the tide rolls off a cliff.
Rock the barn.
Mikey Hayden might be watching. You better watch out.
I'd love to see the Jet. I'd love to see Clemson win, but I just don't see them doing it.
The Jets might win. You never know.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd love to see the Jets win, but I'm not sure they can beat Alabama. But
No,
we can do this
The
before.
Jets would beat them.
We
There's
want
no way the Jets-
we want Cleveland, Clemson. Give me Clemson.
Yeah.
I really hope they win. And
Until
to
they
close
did.
out our show, we've actually gone on quite a while tonight. Let's just finish with Alshon Jeffrey's comments today that the Bears, I guess the better B team, the Bears are definitely going to win the Super Bowl next year.
I've a very big point on that.
Go ahead.
When he wrote the tweet, he did not state a team. He is a free agent this year. He wrote, "I am positive we are going to win the Super Bowl." He didn't state if it was going to be with the Bears or if he was going to sign with the Patriots.
Why the Patriots?
Just a team that is most likely to win a Super Bowl next year. Just because.
All right. Very interesting point. I really took a quick look and didn't take that into account. Very good catch. Interesting point. Something to think about. Up to interpretation, I guess.
If Brady wins the Super Bowl this year, do you think he retires?
No.
He
goes for 7.
He goes for all.
There's no way. I mean, it's Brady is the gift that keeps on giving.
He's the nightmare that keeps on giving.
Well, if you're a
That is
Jets,
horrible.
I mean, he's like a mistletoe. He's so beautiful, but he's poisonous to anything that is not a fan of his.
Except the Giants. Giants do pretty well against them.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants are his kryptonite. Okay, what can we say? Who knows? Act 3 could be coming.
I predicted it.
It'll be a very interesting show next Monday.
It'll either be very salty.
What's it going to be? Is it going to be me ranting about however the game ended and being very solemn? Or is it going to be jubilation and on to Dallas?
The Giants lose. Just get me ready for baseball season.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Rangers are down like 4-1 to the Sabres. And yeah, so, all right. I guess all the eggs are put in the Giants basket for now.
Yep.
My sports teams this year have not been good to me. And the Knicks are falling apart.
Yeah, Knicks were falling apart since about 3 years ago. Any last words before we sign off?
I can't believe I was wrong about Tampa Bay.
Oh, you can't. All right. Anything else?
No,
yes, Diamond Sword, we know you like salty jokes. All right. With that, have a good Tuesday evening. Enjoy Wild Card Weekend. We'll be back probably just at the beginning or hopefully right before the beginning of the National Championship next Monday. So catch us then in the evening. We'll let you guys know. And for us, so long. Thanks for watching.